Hey guys, Jane here. It is the beginning of December, and I am doing a wrap up video, possibly a little early, of this year as a writer. Um, I definitely hadn't made as much progress as I wanted to this year, but I'm hoping next year is a really amazing year because of all the groundwork that I did do. So, first, let's start with what I had hoped to accomplish this year. Um, I always have huge goals and desired outcomes for the year, and I really wanted 2018 to be the year that I became a full time author. It wasn't. I didn't even come close. And actually, I think I made a lot less this year than I did last year. So that was disappointing. But I made so much progress that I'm hoping that next year we actually have that as, something that's possible. Um, I love my job, but I work nights, and that can be really rough on my body and my immune system. I feel like this year I've been sick since June, off and on. Like, I really haven't been well all year. And, I would love to get to a point where I could come back to a part time position at my job instead of working 40 hours a week plus another 20 some as a writer. However, that was the goal for this year, and it didn't work out. I did have quite a few successes. My original plan had been to release a book a month, which turned out to be way, way beyond what I was capable of this year. In February, I released The Alpha's Niece, which is a full length novel. In March, I released Jane's Guide to Ghostwriting, a nonfiction. And in April, I released Protected, which was a short story about 10,000 words that had been in an anthology previously. And that was the only books I released this year. Now, I am kind of early December recording this. There is one more book that I will probably partially be releasing, but it's a collaborative project, so I'm not actually, number one, I'm not earning any money out of it. It is for my writers group, and all the proceeds will go to that writers group. And two, it definitely I'm just a piece of it, and we're not sure we're gonna get it out in time. We'd wanted to release it the beginning of November, and it didn't happen that way. So we are trying to scramble now and get it out before the end of December. It's called Before and After, and once I have a physical copy, I'll be sure to show you guys. So some progress was made early in the year. I did do 3 months where I had consecutive releases, February, March, April. But then I made the decision I wanted to, instead of keep releasing novels, I wanted to finish my Protected series and then go back and release those kind of as a quick release. I don't know that we're going to get the quick release thing this year either in 2019, just because I feel like the rewriting process is going to be a lot longer than I had expected. My plan last year was to do a lot of first drafts and in the beginning of the year, and then during the summer when my kids were gone, to second draft everything. And things just didn't work out that way. Like I said, I made a lot of groundwork though. So drafts that I have that are pretty close to completion. I have She Wolf Wanted, which actually in December I'm sending to my I've gotten beta reader feedback from. I'm going to do an edit based on the feedback and sending to my editor. I have my Jane's Guide to Outlining. I've had beta readers read that, and I need to edit that and send that to my editor also. So I'm hoping to release those in the early part of next year. I also have Bewitching the Bear, which is a male-male romance set in my Barton world, but not directly part of the series. I have Second Chance Wolf and The Ugly Wolfling, which will complete the Barton series, at least to date. If it ends up picking up and selling well, there's always a chance I could continue on with that world and and I might, but at this point, I feel pretty confident, and I like that everything's wrapped up pretty nicely. So I feel like the Barton world's pretty much completed. I also have a rough draft of a story that right now it's a short or novella length, and I don't know whether I'm going to take it longer or just leave it as a short. And it's Letters to Hannah. And right now it's written completely in letter format. I don't love it because you can't really, it's hard to make something super long, like novel length out of letters. But it is about this girl who is writing letters to her dead sister, her dead twin sister. Her sister, we find out pretty quickly, was murdered. And, you know, it's the things that she wished she could tell her sister about the life that she's living. And, you know, I don't want to say her sister's her imaginary friend because obviously that's not quite true. But, you know, she's a teenager, she's going through some tough stuff, and she wishes her twin was there to talk to about things. So the sisters are Anna and Hannah. And, yeah, so they're letters to Hannah. I also completed is probably not quite right. I also made real progress on 2 first drafts under my religious romance, my Emma line of books, my Emma books. These books, I kind of struggled with both of them because while I do want to do some more religious romance, it's not, I'm not as passionate about it as I was when I started. And these 2 books are really good and I enjoy them, but the one I didn't quite get the end to, and the other one I stopped halfway. So I have a good outline, but I just kind of floundered in the middle because I got sidetracked with other things. So I may or may not be adding those books to my Emma books this year. I don't think I've released an Emma book since 2016 though. So I have to kind of think about whether I'm going to finish up that series. They sell pretty well compared to my Jane books, which sucks because I really, really am passionate about my Jane books. But my Jane books, you know, right now are historical paranormal, and there's just not as big a market for that as Christian romance. So hoping to get those done. I also have 2 other Emma books in a current series that I need to finish just to get the series finished. Because I'm afraid if I don't, I'm just never going to finish. And I don't want to do that. I do have them. The one has first drafted, and I just need to go back and make changes. And the second one I started but never finished. So I'm going to be jumping back and forth a little bit this year between those 2 lines of books. I'm not planning on making any progress in any of my other pen names. If you're kind of new to my channel and new to me, I have 5 pen names, maybe more, but I have several. When I first started writing, people recommended having a pen name for each genre. And so I did. I started writing Jane, of course, and then I wanted to do some other stuff. So I tried erotica under just the first name is BJ. That has all since been removed from Amazon, by the way. I don't do any more under that. Just because, number 1, it didn't sell. Number 2, what I was capable of doing erotica-wise, it wasn't very mainstream what I wanted to do. And also, like, my original goal had been to do an erotic story once a week and put it out and try to, like, make money off the erotica craze back in 2014. Yeah, that didn't work. So I didn't. I write under the name Bianca, and I do a lot of nonfiction stuff. However, that stuff is very personal and memoir based, and I've stopped doing it for a lot of reasons. I may at some point add a little bit more to the Bianca line, but I don't think so. I don't want to say I've outgrown those books, but I kind of have. I'm not really interested in memoir, and I feel like I've shared the things that I wanted to share that were valuable at a time in my life when it was a lot closer to the surface than it is now. Trying to think what other. I have Jacqueline, and I don't have many books under that name. And I'm not planning on adding any more. I had thought about it, and those are more like sex and dating advice books. Again, I'm kind of over that. Like when I started writing, that was stuff I was interested in writing, and now I mostly just want to write fiction. I have my Janie McKnight series, which is my children's book series. I'm on the fence about going back to those. The first book I did, which is the only one that's out there, is it's all clip art, basic free to use clip art for the illustrations. And I looked into and had started buying actual art for my other children's books, but art's expensive, even though the artist I'm using is not like super expensive. Like the amount of art I need makes it expensive. And children's books just don't sell well on the Kindle, at least for me. So that hasn't really been something I've added to either recently. And so right now I'm focusing just on Emma and my books under Jane, including though also my Jane's Guide too. So instead of just the Jane B. Knight, the Jane Knight as well. So I have Jane Knight is what I'm putting my actual nonfiction on writing stuff. And then Jane B. Knight is all my fiction. So those are basically the three names I'm going to be focused on this year. And I'm going to be making progress at putting stuff out. I think the other names that I've used up to this point will probably just die along the way. I don't see myself going back to them. So that is kind of a lesson, if you're new to this, is what you may start out doing may not work. Or, who knows, maybe I'll go back to it in a few years. But I'm kind of over those things. Like, they were cool, I liked them, I learned a lot from them, but I'm over them. The other thing that I do have this year is I did do my NaNoWriMo project, and I'm not yet finished with it, for those who know, but I am going to finish first drafting that hopefully before the end of the year. So then I will have that book also to put out next year, hopefully. So I have a lot of first drafts that need converted into completed novels. And then the other thing I need to, or I don't want to say I need to do, another thing I'd like to do is to try to be better at kind of ordering what I'm going to do as far as do a first draft and then do a second draft, so that I have lots of different books in lots of different phases. Right now, one of the challenges I have is that I have a ton of first drafts, but I have no completed books and nothing that, except for She-Wolf Wanted, that's close to being completed. So I kind of did myself a disservice this year, I think, by doing it that way, where I think next year I want to really make sure that I have different stages of books, if for nothing else, so that my editor doesn't get overwhelmed with like, okay, now I've turned all these first drafts into second drafts, here you go. And so that I don't overextend for my beta readers either. So yeah, that is Jane's plan for this year. If you have big plans for this year, I would love to hear what they are. Please comment below and tell me, what are you working on this year? Are you first drafting? Are you second drafting? Are you putting out your first novel? Are you going to try to release a book a month? What are you up to? Last year was definitely a rough year for me, but I'm hoping that 2019 is my year. Thanks all of you guys, by the way, for all your support. I love being a YouTuber. That was another thing that I started this year that has been amazing, and I'm so excited to be here. So comment, like, subscribe, links to my social media all below. See you guys next time. Bye.